So I appreciate you all. Let's do Out of Africa. And if you aren't familiar, Out of Africa is a weekly segment OJ hosted, and it's basically world news, but just off of the continent of Africa, and just to kind of normalize what happens in Africa, why we, how we talk about different stories, and hopefully ways to educate each of ourselves about all the different countries that make up the biggest continent ever. I mean,
the richest continent.
It's a big continent.
Yeah, the richest
right.
continent, the one of the most beautiful continents in the world.
Amen.
Speaking of, Kurt Etchenwald of the New York Times tweeted out, he said that you can get a COVID test with results 5 times faster in Rwanda than in the United States. We are a failed nation. Sir?
Side note, is Asia the biggest continent? Please forgive me for that.
Oh, no,
back
no,
to
the biggest. Yeah. I'm sorry. Did I say the biggest?
No, I did. And I was just talking and being like grand about Africa. But
I didn't think you said the biggest, though.
Did I not? Okay, good. I hope I didn't.
Okay.
So back to the tweet.
Yeah, I don't like this person. I just like to point out the fact that, well, I'll get to that later. He set the bar, like failure is an African nation. Like he basically just made the same shithole comments that Trump did. This is basically in line with that. So another thing I like to point out is this guy works for the New York Times, right? And this just goes back to the level of disrespect that I say that these people have for us, just on a, basic, just ingrained level, that this man sees Africa as, or any place in Africa as, representing failure, when clearly this African nation is addressing this problem better than us, and we're all agreeing that we're not doing a good job. If we're not doing a good job, how does Rwanda then represent failure? How does that represent a failed nation? I think it's wild, disrespectful, and that leads to the disrespect that they have for us here.
There's too much
amazing.
Huh?
Oh, were you about to say, Brooke?
No, you go.
No, I was just about to say that is so amazing, OJ's perspective. Because in my mind, I thought, okay, Rwanda, who doesn't have a lot of resources, and that when he said it, that's what I thought. Honestly, I was like, oh, Rwanda doesn't have a lot of resources, and they're able to respond. I know they, are like, I would not think that they would have the same resources or whatever at this point, in terms of their redevelopment and all those things, that they would have, similar or equal resources to the United States. So when I heard the comment, I thought that, and it's interesting, and it's so interesting to hear how OJ, it's interesting to hear that spin on it. And when he said it, I became offended. And I was like,
yeah, a lot of you were offended.
Messed up. But
yeah,
but that again shows you, though. But I think that in of itself shows you what we've been talking about this whole time, as to just how different people, but I understand completely OJ's point, and I actually take on that point now. Like, I have his position versus my original thought. But my original thought was exactly what I just said.
Well, let me tell you this, then.
Rwanda
has one of the fastest growing economies in the world. 1. 2.
And see, that's something I didn't know.
Right. 2, Rwanda is one of the cleanest countries in Africa. I've seen videos of life in Rwanda. It's nice there. Like, the streets are clean. It looked like any American or Europeans. I can't remember the name of the capital right now. I always get it confused. But the capital is nice. I mean, they've done a lot of hard work from where it used to be. And it's almost, you can hardly believe, from what you've heard, like how this guy clearly just really isn't educated, on but I see him as the kind of person who wouldn't even care to educate himself if this is his line of thought.
Can I jump in there?
And that's how I was about to
go for it.
Let me jump in there because this is something interesting. So today, OJ, to your point, I just want to read something he tweeted today, 4 hours ago. When GOP Fox look at Kamala Harris and say the only reason that this talented, experienced, and an admirable woman is chosen is because of her race shows one thing. They only see race. They can never accept people of color can be successful because of who they are and their accomplishments. So it's weird. He can dissect that and see that, but then miss it on the other one.
Yeah, Africa has to, there's just too much knowledge out there, too much information out there to still be using Africa as your benchmark for failure in any aspect, any reason. And then also still using like a group of, an area that is predominantly Black people as your benchmark for failure, just basically on what type of energy you want to put out in the world. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's weird that we still do that. And yeah, it's just
it's wild, disrespectful, but
thing, and it still happens regardless of the country.
I was about to say, I think and I guess maybe because I'm an analytical thinker and maybe because I'm a lawyer, but see, actually where I found the disrespect part was kind of to what you said earlier about Senator Harris, which was that, well, now VP'd, but what you said about her was in that when you're a reporter, you're supposed to do your research. And actually, before I made a statement like that, just in general, and maybe it's because of my background, I would have looked up exactly the facts or the statistics that OJ just gave me before I made such a comparison, and especially a New York Times journalist. And so I think that does kind of go to OJ's point of the disrespect. And now I feel really disrespected and I feel offended. But even more so now, it just from the idea of what you said earlier, like that's something that should have been looked up. Like I would have never made a comparison or a statement like that without knowing, you know, the information that he just provided clearly from Michael.
Yeah. We got to stop being surprised when Black people have it together, regardless of what struggles exist, regardless of, like, this country is a great country, right? This country is not a perfect country. And we have to stop judging other parts of the world based on the idea that we are perfection. And True. I think that, that's where I stand with that.
I guess on that same point, I think about it from like kind of using like sports as an analogy. It seems like, you know, when a team is ranked in like the top 3, right? That's when like all the pressure focuses on them. But it's like, and then that's when it's like either they're gonna do really good or really bad. And I think that's when you fall down to like 9th, 10th, 11th, that's when you really see their grit and determination. And I feel like we've sat at number 1 as America for so long. And we've had that title for so long. And this pandemic has really tested that because you're seeing other countries' infrastructure and systems outperform ours, right? And so it's one, and I think that's just something
it's so crazy that the whole continent, they try to talk about testing, but the whole continent of Africa has less cases than the United States. And you can talk about, oh, they don't have testing, but they don't have full morgues like we have either. Yeah. Like if it was a problem with the healthcare situation they have set up out there that's set up for Ebola, mind you, that you would, if they had a problem with COVID, then they would have full morgues. If they was having problems with this virus, they would have full morgues, but they don't. And you can say it's not testing all you want, but I mean, the fact of the matter is you don't, 1, have full morgues. 2, their numbers are lower than ours as a continent. That's lower than ours as a continent. And so how is that? What's that one more time?
Trade relationship with China. So China spends a lot of time in Africa. So they have just as much traffic to Africa as we do, if not more.
Right, if not more. And so they were still able to contain and maintain. I mean, they have cases, they have increased cases, they have deaths, but it's a lot more under control than it is here. They had it more under control than they did in Europe as well. And so it's kind of wild how that can be the bar for the lowest possible, you know, as bad as you can do.